Hello, welcome to Some Notes on Style. I'm your host, Joseph. This week I want to take a run through some items that I'm really looking forward to wearing this spring. Now, they're not necessarily revolutionary new ideas or something a lot of you guys probably don't already have in your closet. Something about these pieces just really seems to exemplify the simplicity and the ease of the warmer days of the season. Now it's interesting with some of these pieces that they can be found from some of the most cutting-edge luxury brands around at exorbitantly high prices. But they can just as easily be found in the vintage or secondhand market by comparison essentially at pennies to the dollar. As always, these items are never going to go out of style. They are timeless staples that only look better with age and can very easily be thrown on with almost any other item in your closet for infinite mixing and matching for outfits. So let's dive right in. Number 1, fancy striped shirts. Recently I was looking back at Jonathan Anderson's inaugural Spring 26 menswear collection for Dior. Now initially, I didn't think it was anything all that great. He seemed to just be smashing together Edwardian neck bows and embroidered silk waistcoats right up against mid-90s Ralph Lauren references with oversized dramatic takes on couture cargo shorts, chinos, and cheap-looking neckties. But admittedly, as time went on, I couldn't help but feel like a lot of the individual items layered underneath all that really did start to feel not just right in line with Anderson's ongoing characteristic style of aristocratic, eclectic British references, but they also just generally felt like something that felt pretty carefree and easy to wear as spring started to settle in. So one element that kept rattling around in my mind and catching my eye was the underpinning in a lot of his looks that were these colored ground fancy striped shirts, mostly in shades of blue. So I started digging around eBay, and sure enough found not only direct Ralph Lauren references Anderson was pulling from, which you can buy for roughly $17 as opposed to Dior's $1,150 price point for a cotton poplin shirt, but I started down the rabbit hole of softer versions with various pastel spring-colored grounds, woven instead in Oxford cloth. To me, some of these examples still feel fresh and light for spring, but I think they can make some great shirts to wear with chinos or jeans, which have a little bit more personality to them compared to a solid Oxford cloth shirt. It actually feels just about right when you don't necessarily have the ability to layer sweaters and scarves and jackets in the warmer months of spring. Instead, some of the finer details of these stripes can be enjoyed a little bit more when they're just worn by themselves. Now, you can most certainly still find these from Ralph Lauren because Ralph tends to offer these every spring and has never really stopped. This year there's some really beautiful examples in green, yellow, pink, and orange. Or you can head over to J. Crew, who are offering a fresh and very versatile blue-grounded multi-stripe in their organic cotton Oxford shirt. I like the way they're styling it here with the olive green chinos. Or you can check out Brooks Brothers, who are running a white ground with a blue stripe or a pink grounded Oxford stripe in their Friday shirt, which is a really great classic 100% cotton Brooks Brothers Oxford cloth button down. Has a pretty generous substantial collar roll, very much in line with their original Oxford shirts. Because these fancy striped shirts are such a ubiquitous item and they were very popular in the mid-90s, you can also head over to eBay. Here's a few examples just offhand that I found in the $20 to $40 range, which are nearly identical shirts. The style of these shirts has never changed, so you can certainly buy them new or vintage and still get some really great looks at a fraction of the price. And as spring goes on, the temperatures begin to rise. If Oxford cloth wears a little heavy where you are, you can certainly find a pretty wide variety of fancy striped shirts cut in a lighter weight, more breathable cotton poplin fabric. The difference being that in the poplin, because of the nature of the fabric weave, the stripes are a little more graphic, they're a little more bold. The colors are a little more vibrant. This can be fun too, it's a different kind of look. Personally, I find them to be a little bit too jarring, and in some extreme cases, depending on the intensity of the color combo or how dense the stripes are, they can be absolutely hideous. I think it's probably safe just to kind of stay in the pastel color range that can offer a lot of versatility while still making a nice subtle statement. Now, how do you wear these things? Well, because they are a statement shirt, I find the best examples of how to wear them are very simply. Throw them on an open collar with the sleeves rolled up and a pair of chinos and a woven leather belt. Wear them with some washed out blue jeans and a cotton sweater thrown over your shoulders. You can wear them with a suit or a sport jacket, probably easiest cut in an unlined cotton chino sport coat in khaki, tan, navy, or olive. Although here's an old throwback picture from Ralph Lauren ad in the 80s for a more maximalist approach in which he pairs his with a motif necktie cotton herringbone tweed jacket, and an even larger, more bold graphic striped cotton sweater thrown around the entire look. I don't necessarily think that you have to pay too close attention to the styling from Dior, wearing your striped shirt with some gigantic knitted cape or a brocade waistcoat, but do take note that in both of these looks, the way that Anderson grounded some of the eccentricity is just with a classic mid-wash pair of easy blue jeans. Number 2, big chinos. Now, nothing totally revolutionary here. Big oversized chinos are something that have been around the past few years, most notably coming from J. Crew thanks to the now departing creative director Brandon Babenzian, introducing a little dash of skater preppy chic from his own namesake brand, Noah. Regardless of who brought in the latest wave of the big chino this time around, the beauty of the big oversized chino is that in all reality, this is very much right in line with the heritage and tradition of what they were originally, which is old Army surplus staple 1940s chinos. They were never really intended to be sharp, form-fitting pants. Generally, they were always easy with a high rise and a wide leg. Not to mention the last time khaki chinos really saw their heyday in the mid-90s thanks to brands like Dockers, Gap, and J. Crew proliferating chinos in shopping malls all across the United States. And as was the style of the time, chinos in the 1990s were large, roomy, easy casual pants. Oftentimes they were worn with large oversized t-shirts tucked in with a belt. Sometimes they were layered underneath button-downs. Usually they were worn with very simple canvas sneakers or loafers. Thanks to one of my favorite 1990s ad campaigns by The Gap, chinos really solidified themselves as being icons of men's closets by pulling out all kinds of historical references of various celebrities, notable artists, and creatives who all wore chinos relentlessly throughout the 20th century. So because of all these years of chinos being reinvented over and over again, there are literally volumes of references as to how to wear your chinos in a traditional and classic way that remains easy and timeless. So today, guys looking to buy their first pair of wide leg chinos, like I said, because they're definitively on trend these days, you can get some pretty inexpensive, decent quality wide leg chinos from, say, Uniqlo, who offer a wide range of colors and a pretty decent size range as well. Or, of course, you can easily pick up a pair from J. Crew, who reintroduced their Giant Fit Chino pant, a slightly nicer, heavier quality, fortunately a rather limited color offering. But for my money, because chinos were so popular all throughout the 1990s, some of the best examples are very easy to find, very inexpensively on the vintage market from eBay. Here's just a few examples. I typed in vintage Polo Ralph Lauren chinos 1990s and found loads, page after page of options in either flat or pleated versions, all coming in around 20 or 30 bucks. Now, with regard to Ralph Lauren, specifically my favorite versions are the one in which the Polo main label can be seen right in the center back of the waistband. These are usually the ones from late 90s and early 2000s, before the chino fit spec was modernized to be slightly trimmer, so a lot of times these chinos are very generously sized with a hefty cotton twill fabric. One thing to keep an eye out for Ralph Lauren's chinos is that the waist measurements can be a little bit snug, so always try to pay attention when the seller gives you a yardstick measurement. And personally, what I like to do anyway is just go on ahead and size up 1 or 2 sizes. That way they have plenty of room in them and you can just cinch them up with a belt. It really helps to round out that giant chino style. But all this spring I find myself wearing them constantly. I wear them with trim-fitting polo shirts. I wear them with a t-shirt and a penny loafer, or with a tank top and an unbuttoned shirt over. I wear them with a denim shirt tucked in. Sometimes I wear them with an Oxford cloth shirt, necktie, and a spring weight tweed blazer. Other times I wear them with a button-down shirt tucked in with a large sweater thrown over my shoulders. These things are incredibly versatile. They're very easy way to really give great homage to that iconic mid-90s prep style a la JFK Jr. Number 3, denim and chambray. Now what can I say here? We all got a pair of blue jeans in our closet. Hopefully most of us have a good denim shirt or denim jacket, and as the temperature starts to rise, that denim shirt can easily be swapped out for a classic chambray shirt. Of course, denim and chambray can be worn year-round, but there's something about once spring hits, again, because you can't necessarily layer as easily, they don't require a lot of layering to provide a lot of visual interest to your looks. It doesn't take much to make denim and chambray add a lot of character to your outfits. A more rugged, heavier weight denim western shirt is a real workhorse in anybody's wardrobe. It's basically the spring weight version of a denim jacket thanks to the patch and flat pockets. And once again, if it's got a really great wash to it, it's a perfect counterpoint to something simple and clean like those big oversized khaki chinos I was just talking about. It's a really great rugged piece that could be thrown on with some lightweight tailoring to give a real rustic edge to any dressier looks. I've talked about it before, of course you could really go balls to the wall and start mixing in your chambray with your jeans and your denim jacket all together for a real American cowboy kind of look. Or you can wear them with some dressy penny loafers and a sweater tied over your shoulder. Sometimes there are ways in which you could do things that otherwise might feel a little too fussy, but as long as you have that rough and tumble rugged denim undertone to the whole thing, you can kind of get away with things you might not otherwise think to. Chambray, of course, has connotations of French workwear, so it appears really nicely when you layer it over striped nautical shirts or workwear jackets. It's a perfect counterpoint to something like a double-breasted navy blazer with gold buttons because it's equally as timeless and it really gives something very preppy a lot of Americana edge. And not to mention, they're just so easy to find. J. Crew always does a really great handful of decent denim and chambray workwear shirts nearly continuously. Here's an example of some rounded patch and flap pockets, contrast stitching, white two-hole buttons, certainly solidifying itself into classic workwear vibe. However, you could just as easily head over to eBay and find examples of J. Crew's mid-2000s version of a selvage chambray shirt, the extended tab collar and the workwear pockets. These things are great, they never go out of style. Or you could look for old 70s and 80s chambray work shirts from Big Mac or like this one from Oshkosh Bagosh. Just make sure and pay attention to the measurements once again. Pay attention to those collars, make sure they don't get too flappy or too long. Or for a slightly more luxurious take, head over to Buck Mason. Here they got a Japanese chambray shirt. Very classic, no-nonsense button-down collar cut. It can easily be worn with a necktie and a jacket, or just jeans on a weekend. Or for a really great repro piece, check out Bronson Manufacturing. We're offering a really top-of-the-line chambray shirt for $36. Now, I know there's a lot of talk this season about denim jackets every which way. I can't really add much more to that conversation. Yes, obviously a denim trucker jacket is always a surefire bet. You can find all kinds of information out there about whether you want to go with a Levi's Classic Trucker or a Big E or a Lee or a Wrangler. Take your pick. There's really no wrong answer with a denim jacket. It's great as a mid-layer, it's great as an outerwear jacket. It's great worn simply with just a white t-shirt underneath. Wear it with a dress shirt and a tie. Mix and match your denim and your chambray together. Wear it as a solid foundation to any preppy look. You gotta have a denim jacket if you don't already. I really love examples when you see a good mid-wash blue t-shirt. It gives a very easy weekend monochromatic kind of look. Here's an example of Giorgio Armani wearing his. Here's an old Ralph Lauren ad that pairs that mid-blue against the chambray shirt. Or here's an example of Ralph himself wearing his mixed and match with other denim and medium and light washes. That way you get an overall blue cast and everything. Wearing all these blues really just is such a great way of enjoying the spring season with great broken in and easy wearing classic rugged fabric. Number 4, surplus army pants. Now, this one's a little bit adjacent to the big chinos I was talking about earlier. Essentially, it's very much the same idea. This time around, it's with a classic pair of army green surplus pants. They're cut in a dense cotton sateen fabric, or my personal preference, if you can find some cut in a cotton herringbone weave. Herringbone weave tends to break in a little easier. It really showcases a lot of the wear and tear quite nicely. Now, you can roll your sleeves up and dive headfirst into the minutiae, the differences between an M43 versus a P41 or an OG107. There are all kinds of variations, obviously because these things were a military garment. Not to mention you can start getting into all the different types of surplus army cargos as well. My favorite thing about this kind of style, once again, is the humongous oversized fit. These things should wear at your waist. They should have a little sag to them. You really want to cinch them up with a big heavy-duty leather belt. And the more broken in, washed, and rugged they are, the better off you're going to be. Now, they're a little bit different from the chinos in that the chinos have a connotation of both military surplus and an old Ivy League style. So sometimes khaki chinos can be worn either with vintage workwear or in a preppy way, whereas with army surplus pants, well, yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you can't just mix in a navy blazer and an Oxford shirt. But for the most part, they tend to pair a little bit better with things like your denim shirt or your solid graphic t-shirts or a sweatshirt. Sometimes you see them worn with a Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops in the summer months. They look good when you pair them with linen shirts, anything that has a kind of shore leave army vet kind of vibe. You could just wear them with a well-fitted white pocket t-shirt, sleeves rolled up, and some canvas sneakers. They look fun when you mix them in with penny loafers, boat shoes, moccasins, or flip-flops. They feel like something Hunter S. Thompson should wear, so if you want to get really funky and eclectic with your styling, this is the place to do it. You can find really clean versions that you can wear with just a crisp button down. For a little bit of contrast, they always pair very nicely with blues. Blue t-shirts, blue Oxfords, blue chambray shirts, blue plaids, blue sweatshirts, navy blazers. Now when it comes to buying these things, if you happen to live in a city where you got a more high-end vintage store, that might be the place where you're going to find them. Because they're so high in demand, most vintage dealers know this, so they will often charge a premium for these things because there's only so many left in the world and everybody wants a pair. But if you don't live in a city that has a high-end vintage store, you can try to check on places like eBay with limited and varying success. Here's a few examples I came across. Here's an OG 107 at $40, remarkably a reasonable price. More often than not, you're going to find things like this one, a World War II M43 pair for $160. That's more along the lines of what you're realistically going to end up paying. Or here's a M1940 700 fatigue pant coming in at $85. Oftentimes these are obviously very well loved, very well worn. They're beat to hell. Sometimes they're missing buttons, or they ripped, or they got stains on them. If you like that kind of vibe and you really want the real deal, expect to pay a little bit more for them. However, recently I bought my first pair from Bronson Manufacturing. I bought these cargo pants, the US Army M43. These things have huge patch bellow pockets at the hips. Sometimes you see them with large cargo pocket across the seat. They're very generously cut. They come in that classic Army green cotton herringbone twill. When you get them out of the box, they really are like a pair of box fresh sneakers. They're stiff and rigid. But the more you wear them and wash them and ball them up and tie them in a knot and throw them in the corner, they're just going to wear better and better over time. But the larger conversation I really want to try to steer everybody's attention to, if you don't already know them, is this company Bronson Manufacturing. They're more or less a repro brand. Really take some time digging into their website. There are some incredible deals to be had because these guys are very conscientious of their authenticity and their material quality. Look at their t-shirts, look at their chinos, look at their jeans, and any and all military surplus and workwear. Because what you're going to get is not something like an expensive double RL piece that has been lovingly, meticulously worked to recreate an aged vintage piece. Bronson Manufacturing items are going to be made as if they were new. So like I said, you have to do the work to break them in, but consequently their pricing is unbelievably reasonable for what you're going to get. Here's an example of an M43 trouser coming in at $90. They have example of patch pocket P41s for $70. They have a Vietnam OG 107 fatigue pant. Granted, looks like they're a little low in their inventory right now, coming in at $55. So this is where finding a really good quality repro brand really pays off, because you can get an item fresh out of the box, live in it, make it your own, for a fraction of the price of buying vintage, and a hell of a lot easier to find. So there you have it, 4 items you can very easily mix into your spring outfits, things you might already have in your closet already. In other words, these pieces are not necessarily anything new. Big oversized chinos have been around for a very long time. Striped and chambray shirts never stop being sold. There will always be army pants in surplus style. So I really want to try to emphasize these are just basics essentially, but ones that feel right for this time of year, and pieces that you'll be surprised at how versatile they are and how little it takes to look good just by mixing and matching 1 or 2 other things that you already have in your closet. Of course, that's the beauty of timeless style, is that whether it's on trend this season or not, it's always going to be timeless and always be around to make you look good. If you're enjoying this video, please give me that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. If you're enjoying the channel, I'd highly recommend you click the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you're liking what you see and you want to start to get some more tear sheets, inspirational imagery sent your way, you might want to think about heading over to the description, go over to Patreon, become a distinguished gentleman. Once you join up, I'll send you a monthly Some Notes on Style notebook where I put together between 50 and 100 pages filled with all kinds of additional style inspiration based on each episode's topic. And as always, for my patrons who are with me and have been so this whole time, I appreciate your all's help, you guys. I could not be doing this without you. You're really keeping me going. Or if you're just watching the video and you made it this far and you're enjoying what you see, I really appreciate that too. Once again, the channel is Some Notes on Style. I'm your host, Joseph. See you again next time, guys. Bye.